All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode. This week, we're going to be talking about the officially approved UPA-A paddles. This news, basically, the UPA-A now has their full certification list, and that went in September 1st. So I just wanted to talk about that. Honestly, most of you listening to this is, I'm not going to lie, this section's not that relevant to you. Like, it's only for people who play qualifiers or play pro. And most of those people probably know this, but I thought it was interesting news. There was a handful of paddles that I just thought were kind of interesting.
And challengers.
Yeah, which, I mean, basically a qualifier.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll be talking about that, talk about the Boomstik with MOI weights missing from the official UPA approved list. A lot of people were asking me about that. Giving you guys some very brief thoughts on the CRBN Waves that just got announced. Some updated thoughts on the Quanta, the Ronbus Quanta with weights. And then the Sypik Avatar got that in the other day and got some games on it. So I want to give you guys some thoughts on that. And then just a couple interesting things in the kitchen, mostly Q&A that we want to go over. Yeah. So, all right, let's get into it. First thing I want to know, in the comments, I have a question for you guys. What are your top 3 brands in pickleball? Like, if you had to buy a paddle from one of 3 brands or any of these 3 brands, and for the remainder of the year, the next year and a half, 2 years, however long, you can only buy from these. I'm just curious what and why. Why those brands? I don't even remember what the other thing I said was. I just completely blanked, but just let me know why. Why those brands? I'm very curious to see what general public's thought is on certain brands and why they would pick them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's kick it off with the UPA-A paddles here. So if you play qualifiers, you're probably going to want to listen if you haven't kept up to date with this, because if you're about to go to one, you might be in for a rude awakening on the paddles that you can take. And we'll have a link down in the description to the UPA approved list if you want to check out the paddles and make sure you're good. But there are a number of paddles that are missing and some paddles that don't seem to be publicly available right now. So you might be out of luck depending on what you're using right now. Okay, first thing I wanted to go over, this is just in, I believe this was alphabetical order from when I was going through the list, but first one was Adidas. So a shocker to nobody, the power version of the metal bone, the EVA foam one that we all got to try back in spring of this year, whenever that was. Mm-hmm. Everyone was talking about this is probably not going to pass USAP. And guess what? It's still not on USAP's approved list. And guess what other list it's not on? UPA-A's approved list. Yep. There was all this stuff going around about, no, it's going to be fine. Like, we don't know. And it's like, not on the list.
Here's the thing. We have a pretty good idea. We've hit everything. Okay, maybe not everything, but we've hit a lot of paddles, and ones that have been banned, ones that haven't. I feel like we have a pretty good idea what fits inside those boxes.
Now, who knows? Maybe it's being reworked to fit, but the reason I think it probably isn't is there was 2 new Adidas paddles on here. There was the Addy Power Pro EDT 14 millimeter, and then the Addy Power RX Pro 16 millimeter. Presumably, that's probably what people like Xiaomi are using now, and anyone else using an Adidas paddle. So I don't know if there's even a point to bring back that one. But I mean, that was such an interesting, like, if you think about that paddle this year, so we had all these people come out to try it. The only one, to my knowledge, that got approved was the polymer one. Mm-hmm. The EVA foam ones didn't at all get approved by either governing body. Like, yeah, you could have used it in the interim certification for UPA-A, but now you can't. I don't know. It's just probably one of the most bizarre paddle releases I've ever seen, now that I think about it.
It was just a flop.
And then the other one that is UPA approved right now is on the website, it's called the Metal Bone 4 14.5. It's just the polymer paddle that has bolts.
You know, the way I look at Adidas right now is how I look at Gearbox, where it was, they're so adamant about making this edgeless, blah, 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 super powerful paddle. And we're all like, we just want an edge guard. We just want this. Give us this. And Gearbox finally does it. And we're like, hey, this is your best paddle.
Yeah.
Adidas. They're so adamant about this throat hole, edgeless, weight system, all this junk that no one cares about. And then look at what the pros that are actually winning things with their paddles are using. Oh, an Adidas with an edge guard and just a normal core.
I still think the bolt idea has potential, but the bolts just aren't in the right spots. Or there's like got to be another way to do the weights that aren't the bolts. Mm-hmm. That would be works. Like, I don't mind that, but yeah, it just...
They're so focused on things that no one cares about.
Yeah.
No one actually cares about having a throat hole. We tried that. Doesn't work. Like,
yeah.
Why are you so adamant about making this work when we've proven that no one wants it?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's not great.
So that was the Adidas ones. And then next up on the list for notable ones, I'm not going to go through every brand. There were only a couple that I just thought were kind of interesting. So for Yola, the paddles that I believe are missing are the Magnus 3S 16 millimeter, the Perseus 3S 16 millimeter, the Scorpius 3S Dual 16 millimeter. I don't know what the Dual is. Like, my guess is that that's supposed to be a dual certification, but then I don't understand why the 3S would be getting dual certification this late when the Pro 4 has been out and is dual certified. So I don't know what a Scorpius 3S Dual is. Then a Scorpius Pro 4 16 millimeter and the Magnus Pro 4 16 millimeter. So a lot of 16 millimeters missing from that list. And now I don't know if that is the paddles failed, they're still in the queue, or like, I don't know what it is. And if it was a fail, was it the break-in test? Was it the UPA-A's equivalent of PB Core? They call it PEF. I have no idea what it is, but all the other paddles are on that list. And so this is a very random group of paddles to be missing, and they're all 16 millimeters.
That is kind of interesting.
There was no 14 millimeter missing that I saw. So thought that was interesting. Then next up for PaddleTek, all of the 12.7 millimeter models are gone. None of them are approved, except there is a new TKO CX2 12.7 millimeter. I'm assuming that is a completely different model since it has CX2 in the name, unless that's some internal code name for it. Some of the paddle names have weird names on the website, but there's no 12.7 millimeter models. So if you're playing a qualifier and you play a PaddleTek 12.7, you cannot use it.
Kiss it goodbye.
That's
crazy.
All the 14.3 millimeter models are still there, and then there are new models on there that PaddleTek clearly doesn't have available for purchase yet, because there's 13 millimeter variants and there's 13.3 millimeter variants.
I really wish we knew why, though, any reason for them not being on the list. If it's, again, just a Q thing, is it power? Is it whatever?
The fact that there's 13 and 13.3, that one makes me probably a little bit more confident that it was failing something.
Yeah.
My guess is probably the PB Core test or PEF, but I thought that was interesting, because I know, amongst higher level people, there are still a lot of people who use the 12.7 millimeter PaddleTeks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're a PaddleTek Pro, whatever, you're fine. You're going to have the new versions. Probably means Annalise is going to be using that 13 millimeter one, is my guess. And maybe it's the same exact thing, just they had to make the core a little bit thicker to barely pass the test. Who knows? Next up, Pickle. Gabe and Tyra's paddles are both missing. So the Vantage Pro 14 millimeter and 16 millimeter, and then the Hurricane Pro 14 millimeter and 16 millimeter, both off the list. And the only one that was on there was the new Vantage Pro X. So I don't know what we'll see them using at the next one. Again, is it Q? What is it? When is it going to show up? But it's not in there right now. And there's a tournament this week.
This is going to be a very interesting tournament. See what people are using.
I'll be paying attention to paddles for sure.
Yeah. I mean, besides Anna Lee, what other pros on the PP are using PaddleTeks?
Alshon.
Oh, yeah. Alshon and Anna Lee. Is there any others?
Is Hunter or Yates still using a PaddleTek?
No, he's been flopping back and forth to other paddles. He was using a Yola for a little while.
Okay.
Did I see him using Adidas? I think I saw him using Adidas. He's been hitting a bunch of other paddles.
Okay, got it. So he may not be. But yeah, off the top of my head, those are the only ones that I really know.
Yeah.
6-0, the only two paddles they have right now are the new Black Opal and then the Ruby Pro RKD. So, I mean, not super shocking that the other ones aren't on the list. I'm guessing these are, all amped up versions, and I'm sure the Black Opal's got to be a variant of something we tried in China. I don't know which, but I'm sure that's just a more fitting pro option than like a double black diamond.
Yeah. It's like an updated version.
Exactly. So the only brand that I noticed, and I tried looking at the interim certification list to see if I was missing one, but Proton is the only one on this list missing. So
this is going to be a really interesting thing to see at the PPA.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're Andre, CJ, I think it's the
Megan.
Walker sisters, Megan. Like, there are a number of...
There's a few others.
Yeah, there's do both Kawamotos right now use a Proton?
That I'm not sure. Travis.
Yeah, Travis. So, like, I don't know if we're going to see them all using different paddles, or maybe by, I don't know if this tournament starts on Wednesday or Thursday, but maybe by then it's all fine. But where the list is as of recording now, that was a big notable missing one, was Proton.
Yeah.
And then the last one we'll go over here, because this is kind of the big deal that everyone was talking about. Selkirk. So the Era Power Wide and Elongated are both approved. And then the only Boomstik, the only other Selkirk paddle that is approved is the elongated Boomstik with no weights on it.
Yep.
And so I'm just going to read the UPA-A statement.
Glad I got one with no weights, baby.
Yeah, true. All right. Effective September 1st, 2025, the United Pickleball Association of America paddle certification standards become mandatory for all professional play at PPA Tour events. This includes PPA Challenger events, PPA Qualifier, and PPA Tour Asia. These standards require that all paddles used in competition meet full certification and comply with the prohibition on removable parts. Prohibition. Did I read that right? I feel like I'm reading that wrong. Anyways, in accordance with these rules, UPA-A confirms the following determination regarding the Selkirk Project Boomstik elongated 16mm paddle. The paddle is approved for play only in the configuration in which it was submitted for testing, which was without the MOI weights. So it sounds like they're saying the only version that they received for testing was without the MOI clamps. And then it says, as set forth in UPA-A paddle certification standards, removable parts, including MOI clamps, are not permitted on any certified paddle. And then it says, accordingly, the Selkirk Project Boomstik elongated 16mm is authorized for professional competition exclusively without the MOI clamps attached. Use of this paddle with clamps or with any other removable modifications constitutes a violation and is prohibited in all UPA-A sanctioned professional level events. So now, before this gets confused, I want to say that I saw Jack using the one with the MOI clamps in Vegas. That was before September 1st, I believe. That should have been, yeah, that would have been before September 1st. So it was at that point they could use USAP paddles as well under the, gosh, they're so confusing. There was like interim and then one other one. Anyways, it was fine like a week and a half ago. It's no longer fine anymore.
Yeah, as of September 1st.
Now, there were a lot of people that were kind of surprised about this. And maybe I never said it on a podcast, but I guess I wasn't that surprised because I know that Reload already went through this, being told they couldn't be used in tournaments because it's a removable part, even though there's like no chance of that coming off.
I think I talked about this when we first got the Boomstik.
On the pod?
Yeah. I don't know if it was on the pod or if it was just conversation between you and I where I was like, I feel like UPA is going to have an issue with these MOI weight system because I remember talking to somebody about them griping about the bolt system and that being a potential issue. And I was like, if you're worried about threaded bolts coming off, then this thing is going to be an issue. And sure enough, they have a problem with it.
Yeah. So I guess to me, I was just waiting for this to happen. Or I just assumed that what it is like you can use it without the MOI weights, but you couldn't otherwise because it, going to affect a small amount of people. Jack Sock can get a million Boomstiks without the weight.
None of this matters to any pros that are signed by these companies.
Yeah.
Or particularly Selkirk.
Yeah. The only people this impacts is basically the tiny demographic of you.
Yeah.
Or people like you.
People like me doing qualifiers.
Who want to use a Boomstik. And even for you, you're fine. Like we already have one. I'm sure you could get more if you wanted. But I think for up-and-coming people that aren't signed by Selkirk, and if you liked the Boomstik, well, I guess you just can't use it because you can't buy it.
Your options are you buy a Boomstik and you rip off the weights, which is recommended not, and then you void your warranty. So if you really want to use a Boomstik, you're going to have to void the warranty on your paddle.
And then at that point, why spend $333? Why not just use literally any of the other paddles in the list? Go buy a Jolt for $120 and buy three of them.
What if you don't like the feeling of the Jolt? What if you want that Boomstik feel? Because I haven't hit anything else that's UPA approved that feels like a Boomstik. Now, here's the thing. I'm in the camp of yes, I have access to ones without weight, but I like how that paddle feels so much that I probably would buy one and rip the weights off to use it.
Dang.
Because there's nothing else that I could use in a qualifier that I like that much, feel-wise.
Sure.
I mean, maybe potentially a paddle that's coming up that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still not quite the same feel as a Boomstik.
Yeah.
So, I mean, otherwise, you just go through the jumps and hoops of getting an avatar, which we'll talk about later.
Yep.
So, you don't have many options.
Yeah, and to be clear, one thing that I think I saw this talked about in the Discord that was people maybe just didn't know. The metal bone can't be played with the weights in it.
Yes.
So there was people thinking like, oh, well, the metal bone's approved, so like, why is that approved?
But for pros, they can't use the weights.
They can't have the bolts inside of it.
If you look at Rafa, because he's used that paddle that has the weight system, he doesn't have weights in his paddle.
Yeah. And I did ask Selkirk if there was plans to sell a Boomstik with no MOI, and sounds like the answer is no. There is no plan.
Bro, why? It just doesn't make sense. Give me a good reason why.
I feel like it
is a horrible decision.
Yeah, I think it'd be better to just do it, but I don't know. They're dead set on keeping it with the MOI weight.
I would love to hear at least one good reason for doing that. I can't think of any.
The only thing I can think, which I think is valid, but I just think people, either a product page could solve this issue, is like, look, you sell both, and you say, look, we recommend that for most of you looking at this page, you buy the one with the weight. But for the tiny group of you out there that want this without the weights, which, to be fair, is probably a very small group, my guess is they just don't feel like catering to that small group, and they don't want to deal with the support emails that are like, hey, this paddle's not that good, it doesn't hit that hard, and they're like, oh, well, you bought the one without the MOI. Probably just avoids all that. But to me, I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like you could solve that with product pages. I don't know. And then Selkirk did have a statement about this too. They said, the Boomstik paddle debuts Selkirk's moment of inertia tuning system, which features semi-permanent weights on the edge guard. I still don't understand the semi-permanent. Just call it permanent. Like, it's not meant to be removed. You break the paddle if you take it off. Like, just call it permanent.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be taken off. Mm-hmm. If it was easier to take off, sure, but it's not. So,
right.
Anyways, little gripe there. Edge guard that expand the paddle's sweet spot by providing more stability on off-center hits. Similar to tuning a paddle with lead tape or perimeter weighting, the MOI system on the Boomstik delivers a performance-ready setup straight out of the box. The Boomstik is approved by the USAP, and the MOI tuning system is acknowledged by USAP as external weighting system, similar to tungsten tape. The Boomstik is also UPA-A certified for pro play, but the UPA-A does not acknowledge the MOI tuning system as an external weight, similar to tungsten tape for pro play. For the vast majority of individuals and tournament players, this will not affect you at all. The Boomstik with MOI tuning system can be played in USAP and amateur PPA events. That was another confusion in the Discord. People were asking me like, oh, how are you going to play with the Boomstik? Or are you just going to not now? And I was like, it doesn't impact me. This impacts pro-only events.
Literally
no amateurs.
5% of players.
Yes.
Or less.
So just to make that clear, because that seemed to be some confusion going around. For pro players on the PPA and MLP tour, we provide them with a UPA-A approved paddle without the MOI system pre-installed. We are actively working with UPA-A to recognize the MOI system as a preset perimeter weighting solution rather than treating it differently from the external weighting adjustments players already make with lead or tungsten tape. This innovation benefits players of all levels by providing a paddle that is optimized for performance immediately without requiring manual modifications. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Maybe it's literally just going to be a nothing burger. It's just going to be a, you know what? If you're an up-and-coming guy and you want to use this paddle, either don't use it or buy it and rip it off yourself and be really careful about it. Otherwise, it really doesn't impact people. But I think it just became, what I started getting messages about was USAP going to ban this too? It's like, well, USAP's never really had problems with this stuff. Mm-hmm. The bolts from the metal bone are fine. Reload is fine.
Anytime a statement like this comes out, that, especially when it's UPA, where this, like we've said, is going to affect practically no one.
Yeah.
It's such a small group of people that it's not that big a deal. But it's confusing to the rest of everyone, and now they're worried that they hear this, and they're like, oh, well, now I don't want to buy the Boomstik because it's probably going to be banned everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is not even close to the case, which is funny because a friend of mine literally just texted me saying, what's the drama with the Boomstik? I want to get one, but not if it's going to be illegal. Literally just now texted me. So it's like, it's fine. It's not going to be banned. It's just you can't use it with the weights for the pros.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Caused a whole lot of ruckus. And, you know, this just kind of continues the whole back and forth of UPA-A, Selkirk, and yada, yada, yada.
Back to the drama. The beef.
Can everyone just get along?
All right,
please?
Here's how we settle this. We get who's the oldest brother, the Barnes brothers.
I actually don't know
So
which
Rob?
one's the oldest one. I don't know if I can easily find that out.
Well, either way, we put the oldest Barnes brother versus Jason Aspis in a ring, box it out, and this is how we settle it. All right, I'd pay money. I would pay a lot of money to watch that, okay? Screw the PPA, screw MLP. I don't want to watch any of that. Take my money. I want a 5-round boxing match.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how that would end.
I'd pay for that.
That would be interesting. Okay, so there's a couple other things I want to go over now that we're kind of past the boomstick. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Honestly, I'm not that pressed about it. It just, the pro scene doesn't really impact anything I'm doing, and I'm kind of over the paddle drama with all of that.
I think this is going to have like its little blow up of drama. People are going to talk about it, and like a week from now, no one's going to care. It's not going to matter because they're going to realize it doesn't affect them. It's literally only changing what paddles pros are playing with, and then we're all fine.
Now here, this is the thing that is semi-related that I think has a bigger impact on the rest of the industry that I'm curious to see how it shakes out. First, I'm just going to dive into a thing. There was like, I got some information just about some of the fail rates from PPL, which is UPA-A's testing lab.
Yeah.
I just thought this was interesting. So 37% of paddles that are failing are from ABI, which is the accelerated break-in test. So that's pretty high.
That's quite a bit.
35% are for spin. Thought that was interesting.
Wow.
That people are failing the spin test. And then 25% are PEF, and only 3% are miscellaneous things. So I was surprised to see that 25% was the PEF or PB Core was the lowest thing failing paddles.
That is kind of interesting. I would love to see a list of paddles that are failing the spin test.
I would too. That'll be interesting. So who knows? Maybe for example, the spin test. Maybe some companies okay, let's take the Proton Flamingo. Every single one I've touched has been super gritty. Maybe that's the reason it's not on the list right now. So maybe they update the peel ply and then it's fine, right? The break-in is, I think, what I anticipated would probably be the biggest hurdle since USAP doesn't do that right now, and all the Gen 3s out there that have had core crushing issues. I feel like that's what I thought was going to be the highest.
Yeah,
because it's a new test that no one was prepped for.
See, if I was in charge of this. I would lower the limit of power on paddles. Drop that down to basic Gen 2 level.
Okay.
Or potentially even lower.
Okay.
Slow paddles. But then just let loose on spin.
See, I don't know if that's that much better.
Let people just spin the ball. I think that would be way more entertaining to watch.
But think what that could, you're hitting drives that are dropping in the kitchen and then off the court in singles. You're just never going to touch that ball.
You just be better.
Be better with a power paddle.
You don't have to come up to the net. We already see Hunter Johnson staying at the baseline, just playing
mini tennis.
We already have that. Paddles are already spinning a lot. I don't know if we like
that.
The problem is they spin well already with a lot of power.
Yeah.
The ball's moving slower with more spin. I don't think it'd be that big of an issue. I would much rather see.
I think we'd have to go Gen 1 if we were going to go that spin.
Yeah.
Old Gen 1. Not PaddleTek Gen 1.
Or just, get rid of the ball that we use and slow the ball down.
You and that ball. Okay.
Hey, I didn't say anything that bad about it. I was trying to come up with some words in my head. Pause there for a second. I was trying to be nice, okay?
Okay, let's go on to the thing that I think is going to impact more people and I find fascinating. So there are UPA-A paddles that have more grit because now they're doing a spin test. They're not doing the same thing as what USAP has done for a long time where there's this little device called a Starret. It drags the needle across the paddle face and it just checks basically how high the grooves are. And the grooves can't go past a certain number is the simplified version of explaining that. UPA-A is now doing a spin test where a ball is being shot into a paddle and then they're measuring the actual spin rate off of it. So they're using two completely different tests here. So because of that, there are paddles that can now be grittier and still be under the RPM limit versus with USAP, it is literally a grit limit, which may not always correlate to spin number. I think generally speaking, if that number goes up, it's going to go up, but probably only up to a certain limit.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where I think the confusion is going to come. The Yola 3S is only UPA-A approved. It doesn't have USAP certification unless that dual one is out right now and I'm not aware. I'm actually going to look it up really quickly. Okay, yeah, I don't see any 3S model name approved on USAP's website. Okay, so that paddle's been out for a while. Only UPA-A approved. That paddle still gets used in local tournaments, money ball tournaments. I'm would like to think no one's used it at an APP event, but I also wouldn't be surprised if someone got away with it because
like a 3-5 level.
Yeah, 3-5 level. The people, the competitors don't know. Maybe you get a ref that doesn't know that, and then people ask like, "Hey," the ref asks, "Is a USAP approved?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, I mean,
sure."
So I could see where that would happen. I'm not saying it's happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Because of that, and the paddle really not being that problematic in recent times, like no one's going, "Oh, this is like a mod. Take this away from me. I don't play that paddle." I'm just wondering with the UPA-A models that have higher grit on the paddles, if you go to a local tournament, is anybody going to care? Is anybody going to know? And if the paddle isn't so spinny that it's breaking the game, every single person who has the option to choose between a USAP approved model and a UPA-A approved model is going to take the grittier one. One of the number one comments I probably see on this channel with certain paddles is like, this thing is so gritty. Like, I don't want a smooth one. Or this one was smooth, that's garbage. I want a gritty one. We have some UPA-A approved paddles upstairs, and we have the same paddle with USAP grit, and that difference is night and day.
We're talking like OG 3S stuck to my shirt or grittier now versus like this table.
Yeah.
It's not even close to the same.
For amateurs, 100% of the time, they're going to take that grittier one.
Yeah.
And if they don't play tournaments, this is why I think it's like an interesting problem is it would be one thing if UPA-A paddles were way more powerful and way more gritty to where people didn't want to recognize it as like, they're like, hey, whoa, like imagine if the mod was still approved. They'd be like, whoa, like we don't play UPA-A approved paddles here. But because the power is essentially in line with USAP, like there's not really a big difference between their lists of that, why wouldn't you just take the grittier one?
Right. Yeah, if you don't play tournaments or anything, you just go to rec plays and play casually. Of course, you're going to want something as gritty as possible. And then, that would make it last longer.
So I think if local tournaments don't take a stance, then okay, we're just going to see this everywhere, which personally, I don't even really have an opinion either way. Mm-hmm. The grittier one doesn't seem to break the game in any meaningful way. It's probably more fun for some people in certain ways because the paddle is grittier and everyone rubs their hand on the paddle. But I just think it's an interesting thought because then how many people are going to go to an APP tournament? Let's just take like a Carbon Genesis as an example. Let's say you have a USAP version and a UPA-A version of that you can buy. That's actually a bad example because they don't sell one. I'm just going to make this up here. Let's say they sell that.
Yep.
People will know that paddle, a Carbon Genesis, is USAP approved. So if you go to an APP tournament and you play a 4-0 bracket and you have the UPA one, they're going to see the paddle and go, oh, I've seen people play the Genesis here. Like that paddle's fine. But then you just have the grittier one that you aren't technically supposed to play at an APP. And then how many refs, yes, they ask, but are they going to start looking and being
I've never once had a ref actually look that close. They just ask. And they don't even want to look. I had a ref say that to me. They're like, I don't even want to. I just need a verbal confirmation from you.
Yeah.
So they don't want to look at it or do any sort of officiating on your paddle. They just want to ask a question and have you answer.
Which, because then, if you're caught, the blame is on you.
Exactly.
Because you lied. But so I don't know. I don't think it's a problem in that it's going to break the game. I just think it's an interesting thing that's about to happen where everyone who has the option to buy a grittier one's probably going to do that.
Would love to see 5 months from now statistics from these companies that sell both versions or dual certified ones and see which ones sell more. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be UPA because everyone just wants as much grit as possible. So
now, what I will say is that I'm trying to think of companies. Most everyone has just done a dual certified version with the smoother grit. Yola said they were going to do a UPA-A one, but that still hasn't come out.
Oh, really?
The Franklin one is all the same. The Carbons are all the same. I'm just trying to think of paddles that are dual certified here. There's only one company upstairs that I don't even know if we can talk about that paddle yet, that we have 2 versions, and it seems implied that they will sell 2 versions.
Yeah.
So it just makes me wonder if more companies will start doing that. Because think about this. Now, if you're a paddle company owner and someone sells that dual cert or the UPA-A approved version with more grit, and everyone's like, dude, this is the grittiest thing ever. And then sales go up. What do you think every other company is going to want to do? I guess we got to do the same thing because everyone wants the grit. So they're not buying ours anymore because we have smoother USAP grit.
Then once more companies do that, it's just going to stop USAP approving paddles. I don't know. It's going to be a whole thing.
Who knows? Maybe eventually USAP gets the same spin test and we all end up in the same spot and it just doesn't matter. But in the short term, I just thought this was an interesting thing. Like, if I went to a tournament and let's say I played a local tournament and someone played against me with a UPA paddle that had the grit, I don't even think I'd say anything because
not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think people are all that confrontational about paddles at tournaments to begin with.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Interesting to see how that one shakes out.
I can't believe that USAP is still using Starrett.
Yeah. They said there, I want to say when we went to their media day, I thought it was supposed to be like Q2. I thought it was supposed to be Q2 of this year that was supposed to be done, but it's still not out. So
they're not.
We'll see.
I feel like they need to change things, man.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of been quiet for a while, but we'll see. It's just more paddle testing stuff. Most of you don't have to worry, but I thought it was interesting either way. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some paddles. So first paddle that when I asked on Instagram for questions and answers, pretty much every single one of you asked about. It's like the only thing I got questions for. CRBN Waves. You want to know about the CRBN Waves?
We can finally at least somewhat talk about it.
Only a little.
Not much.
So I have 2 of the paddles here.
And that's all you guys get to see. Yeah. Can't say anything. I'm just kidding.
So these are the Waves if you're looking at the video now. And we can't say much. So we're not allowed to tell you the specs. We're not allowed to tell you the build. All we can basically tell you is that these are releasing on the 25th. And we can give you some initial impressions. The other thing I'll say is that CRBN designed this to be the power upgrade of the Genesis. Everyone, I think, when that paddle came out was expecting more. This is supposed to be that.
Yeah. It was like a little underwhelming in people's eyes when the Genesis came out.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just give some initial impressions, and these are very initial. Like, I'm talking, I went out this morning and hit them with you, so you could try things like the Avatar, and we hit for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah. I've got a bit more experience than you do.
Yeah. You have hit it a little bit more than me. So my initial impression of this paddle is that it seems like it's going to need weight. It seems like the sweet spot is still a drawback out of the box. Like if I'm comparing it to a lot of the other higher foam core paddles out there right now, the Loco, the Boomstik, the NF, and I'm sure other ones coming out, and I'm blanking on some right now. The Quanta. With the Quanta needs weight, but all better sweet spots. In my opinion, I think the first thing I noticed was like, like I go for a reset, I miss a little bit, ball doesn't really go anywhere. Power, definitely not on par with a Boomstik.
Not quite a Boomstik, but when you put some weight on it, I will say you can hit the ball pretty hard with these.
Sure.
Like Boomstik with weight versus this with weight, Boomstik still hits harder, but that's still like this is still up at the top of power, in my opinion.
Top of power?
Not the top, the top category. Like I would put it up there below Boomstik, above a Pro 4.
Oh man, I didn't have a Pro 4 this morning, but
I've hit them side by side. When you put weight on a Waves, I'd say it hits harder.
Okay, what if we're talking stock?
4. Stock, if you hit the sweet spot. You gotta hit the sweet. You really gotta hit the sweet spot. Then it's like equal with a Pro 4.
The PaddleTek of foam.
Yeah, that's exactly that's the phrase I've come up with, and I like to say is when people ask me about it, it is the PaddleTek of foam paddles. It doesn't have the best sweet spot, but yeah, it still performs good. It spins well. That was probably the first thing I noticed when I got one in my hands is you can really shape the ball with it.
Sure. Which the Genesis did well.
Yeah, I get a lot of shape on the ball, which is a good upside, but there are just some drawbacks.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see. I haven't played these with weight. Maybe weight helps quite a bit. I mean, the weight really unlocked the Genesis. That took it from a paddle that I probably wouldn't have considered maining to one that I did main for 6 months. So one thing that I want people to understand, because I feel like this happens a lot, is on an initial impression, you need to take it. That's what it is. Like, everyone wants the information quickly. So I'm giving you some thoughts, but opinion could be completely different after I add some weight, maybe some more time, play with some more paddles.
Maybe it changes a little bit.
But I think I was expecting a little more. I think with a lot of the floating foam cores, I think the other foam core options have gotten really, really good.
That's the thing, is with now the other foam paddles, I feel like have just improved paddle technology so much that, like, hitting this side by side this morning with the Avatar, we both were switching back and forth. And we were just like, the Avatar feels nice.
Yeah.
Just better.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. I wish we could say more.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. We'll talk more about it when we can. But yeah, early impressions, I think these have very stiff competition, but I'll be curious. And, maybe that's what it's going to become, is like for example, if we look at the PaddleTeks, I would say objectively in a lot of performance categories, they lag behind other options out there. Like the PaddleTeks in raw performance, I think lag behind a Yola Pro 4. But there are still people who choose to use a PaddleTek for a number of reasons. Durability, they don't really change. Like solid paddles if you can get over the smaller sweet spot.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it will be with the Waves. Is like, this will be a solid option where if it has the durability of the Genesis, which didn't really seem to give people much fuss, that would be great.
I also think if you are coming from a PaddleTek and you want to get into using foam paddles, maybe for some reason you just don't like the PaddleTeks as much or just want to try something different, I think out of all the foam paddles, this is probably going to be the easiest transition for people coming from a PaddleTek, because these like floating foam cores are so drastically different in feel. Power and pop-wise very similar, but in feel is so different that I think this is probably the closest feel-wise.
Yeah, interesting. I got to play with them more, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope it's not too late for them. I think with the Genesis did really well. I was a big fan of it. But yeah, just need some more time on it. So that's all I got for you guys on the Waves right now. Next up, I want to talk about the Quanta a little bit. So I was having a chat with Lewis the other day, and he was like, I don't think the Quanta hits as hard as you say it does. And I was like, I'm telling you right now, I have alternated between drilling and games, literally back and forth between, like, in between points.
I think Lewis just needs to lift some weights. This is the problem. I think he needs to get in the gym.
Come on, Lewis. So anyways, after that, I was just curious. And when someone says that, like, I don't take it as a, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah,
I take it as a, what have I done that you haven't done, or vice versa? And so we compared weight setups, and our weight setups were different. So he did, I believe it was 0.5 gram tungsten, and then, went from like the throat all the way up the paddle. And the setup that I immediately did on the R2 was 15 grams of weight, basically positioned exactly like a Boomstik. So let me grab that quick. So for those of you watching the pod, you can see the 2 gram lead tape that I have here. I actually had to stack them on top of each other to make this more similar to a Boomstik. But I was like, okay, people already kind of feel like, hey, maybe this is going to be a Boomstik competitor. I said, let's make it as identical as we can. I'll do the same exact weight setup they did, and now we have a more apples-to-apples comparison. So that's why I did the setup I did. And I think this paddle hits very hard. I have gone back and forth between the Boomstik and this over and over, and honestly, if you told me I had to play with one or the other in a tournament that day, I could do it and I'd be fine. Are they the same paddle? No, there are differences, but for my game, I could play with either and be content.
Sure.
Now, I want to talk about some stats because I did different setups on different paddles, and I think a lot of people were curious about the stats. So on this R2 with 15 grams of weight added, 7.5 grams on each side, the R2 had a swing weight of 112, a twist weight of 8. So the swing weight is still very low. 112, that's fine. The Genesis was like 112 out of the box without weight. So great stat right there. And then the static weight is about 8.5. Then the R1, I was like, okay, let's try something more like Lewis's setup. So I took 0.5 gram tungsten tape and I ran it all the way from the top of the handle, literally to where the head starts to curve. So it's like as high as you can go before you're just going to wrap the entire paddle with 0.5 gram. This should be about 10 grams of weight if I measured correctly. So it is 5 less grams than my R2, which would make a difference. But the difference in performance between this and my R2 night and day. It's not even close.
Yeah.
This R1 with this setup does not hit as hard. The stability is not there. Obviously, the different shapes.
You
so
hit
that's expected.
the R3 that I set up?
Yeah. And yours is, I'd put it on par with how I felt about my R2.
Closer to the R2.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you also did 2 grams per inch, right?
Yeah.
And you used a lot.
I don't know if I'd say a lot.
It was a good chunk of weight. Most people are not putting that much weight on their R3
Fair.
or any paddle. But yeah, after I played both of these, I was like, if you only told me this was the only Quanta I would have got to hit, and you said you can only form your opinion on this paddle, definitely would have been a different opinion than what I got from this R2.
Sure.
Because this weight setup just does not, like, the stability is not as there. The feel is not what it is with this 15 grams of weight, and the power is just not as high.
What's interesting is I've been hitting it more and more, just comparing it back and forth between a bunch of paddles, the R3, and I'm liking it less and less compared to the Loco. That's what I've been hitting the most recently, and then also the Boomstik. I just feel like even with different weight setups, I have not been able to get the sweet spot to feel as good as the others. I feel
really?
Plow through and power, sure, is fine. Sweet spot still feels maybe not severely, that's kind of drastic, but most definitely worse than the Boomstik and the Loco.
Oh, interesting.
And I would much rather take, if power is either the same or slightly less, in my opinion, I'd obviously rather have a bigger sweet spot.
Interesting, because the R2 setup I have, I would definitely take this sweet spot over the Loco right now.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's something to do with the wide bodies.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I've hit the Loco side by side with this as well, and I felt the sweet spot. But I mean, this is a lot of weight on it. The Loco doesn't have any weight on it, so it's not really an apples to apples comparison. But like in that stage, I would take the Quanta.
The
but it's
sweet spot
15
drop
grams.
off on the Quanta that I've been hitting is so much more drastic.
That's how I feel about this R1. With this weight setup, it's like when you miss, you feel it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think for people who have bought a Quanta or are thinking about buying a Quanta, there are a couple things you need to think about with the weight setup. One, you're going to have to add a lot of weight. This is a $100 paddle after code. Just pretend it's $120 to $130 because you are buying weight for this paddle.
Yeah.
You 100% have to buy weight. I'm not saying you can't play it stock, but you are not getting all of the performance that everyone's talking about if you don't add a lot of weight.
If everyone's saying this is a great paddle, say it was just tier-wise, like an A tier paddle or S tier, whatever you want to put in and everyone's talking about, without weight, it's F tier.
I wouldn't go F, but
I 100% would. I played it, tried to play one full game without weight on it, and I literally couldn't.
I'd probably go C tier if I'm talking no weight.
Too generous.
I don't think so. I could play it, but it would not be my first pick.
Be miserable.
So real quick, the R1 setup that I have here, for those curious, the swing weight went up to 112. I believe it was 10. Let me check. It was 107 before, so it went up 5 points. And then the twist weight is 6.24, and then the static weight was 8.2. And then for the Quanta R4, which was the hybrid, the R1's an elongated, I did the same setup as my wide body, just to see how this would work in another shape. I was like, okay, let's just get a different feel for how all these weight setups work. And so I did the same exact 15 grams. And the R4 jumped to a 116 swing weight from 105, so an 11-point jump. And then twist weight went to 7.62, and then a static weight of 8.55. This played a lot closer to my R2 than the R1. So there is clearly a very big difference when stacking the weight like this, like right about where you should be hitting the sweet spot. And maybe that's why Selkirk landed on the Boomstik setup the way they did. Maybe that's why it's not lower. Maybe that's why it's not spread out more. Maybe that makes a bigger impact than what people have traditionally thought in the past. Like the thought and the way I've always thought about it is probably better to spread the weight out rather than concentrating it in one place. Mm-hmm. But maybe I need to do some more testing with different paddles because maybe concentrating it has an impact that would make certain paddles play better. Like when I go to hit the waves more, I'm going to do maybe not this much weight, but I'm going to try something like this and try it without and see how it does.
See how it feels. Yeah.
So those are some of the specs and some thoughts on that. If you are someone who hates playing with weight, don't buy a Quanta. You have to add weight.
Yeah.
It is not a weightless paddle.
If you don't want to add weight to it, go buy a Loco or a Boomstik, which then you're probably worried about the price. Like there's other options.
Yeah. I definitely think it's not for people who like to tinker. And, if you like to tinker, this is awesome. I think it's great. Like the R2, like vibing with it, great. I think it's an awesome paddle. I think I could play with it and have no issues. But I just know there are a lot of people who have watched the channel in the past that are like, dude, I'm just not about weighting my paddles. I want it good out of the box, and that's not the Quanta.
Yeah.
I still think, even regardless of price, as long as you're willing to put weight on this paddle, I think it's an awesome paddle. I think it competes with some of the best paddles out there, and then the cherry on top is that it's very cheap. I mean, $100, like this could have been $200, and it still would have been fine. You know? Look at the C45. A lot of people like the C45, and it's the same thing. You got to weight it to get the performance out of it, and we know plenty of people who like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So those are the Quantas.
That was one I didn't really vibe with.
The Quanta?
No, C45.
Oh, C45.
Yeah, even after doing different weight setups and stuff, I was never able. Like, it was fine, but I was never, actually use it.
Now I kind of want to try C45 with... Now I just want to try this setup on every paddle and just see what...
This is all you're going to do now.
I bought a lot of 2-gram lead the other day, so...
Yeah?
Probably going to be trying it. Okay, next up. Here's a paddle we both like.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Well,
Sypik
we both
Avatar.
liked how it plays.
Yeah. You and your gradient edge guards.
Well, it's not even just the gradient. It's just the mishmash of, feel like, random colors.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Won't go that deep into it. No one really cares.
Yeah, so let's talk about this paddle. So, again, I got this paddle from unlimitedpickleballzone.com. I had a friend who hooked me up with them, and they actually did. I spoke to them a little bit more. So you can order online through them. You don't have to be local. And then they did give me a discount code. So if you use PB Studio, you can save some money on Sypik paddles now. So
nice.
That's a little easier than going through like a ambassador, unless they're local to you. If you have an ambassador close to you, go for it.
Yeah.
But if you were going to try and find an ambassador online and Venmo them.
So now instead of jumping through 5 hoops, you only have to jump through 4.
Well, now you just buy it from a shop like you would like Pickleball Central.
Yeah.
But so, okay. This paddle's $280. I actually don't know the build of it. I don't know if it's a floating core.
We know it's foam.
We know it's foam.
Foam.
That's all I know. But this paddle, I took it out yesterday. I played some games, pretty much the entire session with it, except maybe 2 games at the end. This is an elongated paddle only. Has a 5.5-inch handle, I believe. And just me in general, I'm not a huge elongated guy anymore. I played this session with people who are all better than me. Dupers were like 5'5", 5'3", and 4'9". So in games like that, I'd expect to get beat up even if I'm using my preferred shape. I liked this enough that I purposely didn't switch because I was like, I'm actually having a good time with this. It's like, I feel like I'm playing well. Don't even say it. You're going to say something about me using elongated paddles. It's not happening.
Guys, he's growing up. I'm so proud. He's maturing. He's learning. It's actually like this is what a proud dad feels like.
I guess. But so I used this the whole time, and I expected to go to some other paddles, like go back to my Boomstik, and I did at the end just for a little bit of a comparison. But yeah, I like this paddle way more than the Trident.
Trident, yeah, the Trident is no, forget about it. I did not like that thing at all.
For $250, the potential issues you'll deal with durability, which I had people message me after the pod and say like, yeah, they've seen a lot of Trident 3s broken. Okay, you go up 30 more bucks, and I just think you get a better paddle.
Better performance, sweet spots, same if not better.
Yep.
It just, in my opinion, feels better. Just, I don't know. Overall, it's just a better paddle.
Yeah.
In every metric.
I wouldn't take the Trident 3. I would take this.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that stood out to me that I was the most surprised about is the sweet spot for an elongated paddle. That's usually the immediate thing I notice when I'm playtesting elongated. I'm like, okay, yeah, the sweet spot is more narrow. I'm used to a wide body. I don't know if there was really any time yesterday when I played that I went, oh man, the sweet spot's bad. Like, is it Boomstik level? No, but it was good enough that I wasn't thinking about it.
I would definitely say the sweet spot on the Boomstik's better.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's probably comparable to like, I haven't hit an NF long handle in like a super long time. I'd put it on par with like the Loco. Yeah. Is what it feels like. I would say it's basically a more expensive Loco. It feels so similar. I mean, I'd have to hit them side by side. I only hit it this morning. But
Logo to me feels a little bit more hollow. Not that
Really?
That's bad, but just that is the difference I feel like. And also, actually, really quick.
That's very interesting because I feel not quite the opposite because the Loco feels very dense to me. Maybe that's because I have weight on it.
Could be. I haven't played them with weight
It
yet.
definitely could be because I have weight on the logo. I'd have to hit it side by side, both stock.
I'm just going to go over some stats really quick because I think this is kind of important to talk about this paddle. So one of the reasons I think the stability was better is, at least on the out of the box, twist weight was 6.26.
Which is higher than normal for elongateds, I feel like.
Most elongateds, sub 6.
Yeah.
So that jumped out to me why I probably felt that way. And then the static weight was 8.3. So it is heavier than probably most paddles out there. So it's got some extra mass that, imagine just you took an elongated paddle and slapped that extra mass for weight. It seems like...
Man, this working out recently must be really helping. You're using heavier paddle, elongated, you're liking it. Man, it's great.
Jason 5-0, baby. And then the swing weight was 119, which for an elongated,
Still
par for
fine.
the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under sub 120.
Like, slower than what I'm used to, but like I wasn't complaining while I was using it. It was just like, yeah, it is what it is for an elongated. So stats are pretty in line with normal, except that I'd say the static weight is, not normal. It is heavier static weight, and then the twist weight was better.
I'd have to set up a boomstick that doesn't have the MOI weight setup on it and kind of tinker around with that and then hit these side by side. But if I had to go to a qualifier right now, if I couldn't get the boomstick feeling how I wanted, this would be the backup.
The Avatar?
Yeah, the Avatar would be my backup paddle.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. Like, I played it for, what would have been yesterday? Like, probably 5 games, and then hit a tiny bit with it this morning. We were trading back and forth, and, like, it's good. It's solid. I think what I would say, without having compared it to other foam core paddles yet, you are going to spend more money for it than probably what you could get from other foam core options. I think the price keeps going down, down, and down, right? Like, if you weight up a Quanta right, I think you can get very good performance out of it. There is the Loco when it comes out. That's going to be $200, $180 before a discount or after a discount code. You've got the
It's
NF.
$100 less.
Yeah, $100 less. Like, I think you can get performance that's going to be about equivalent. But with the Triton, to me, it was I could only recommend this if you were just a really big Sypik fan or a really big QD fan. This, I would say, yeah, you're probably going to pay more money than what you need to get that level of performance. But if you are a QD fan and you want something that performed well, this does do it. You just might spend more
What's
money.
the warranty?
It's probably still 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, is my guess.
Okay.
So I think the performance is solid. Performance-wise, I could tell people, if price was no question, you didn't care, I could tell people this is a good pedal.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. I think it plays perfectly fine. I liked it for everything. Hands felt really good. Sweet spot was good. Power was good. Drives felt great. Like, there wasn't an issue. Like, there wasn't a area in the court where I was like, this is a downside. Like, this felt bad.
Yeah.
Which is becoming more and more common with all these paddles. Like, it's every
Well, it's because they're all
paddle's-
doing the same thing.
They're all basically the same paddle, yeah.
Yeah. Or
Boomstik,
variants
Loco.
of either the same thing. Maybe they change a face layup. Maybe they change how thick a band of EVA is. But, like, similar concepts
Yeah.
is really what it comes down to. So, yeah, I was impressed with this. I think with how let down I was on the Triton, I did not have high hopes for
The
this.
biggest thing that we've noticed, though, and I want to hit this more, I'm going to hit this a lot to see how it changes. If you guys go to Kwong's Instagram page and listen and watch him hit the paddle, it sounds like the most, obviously it's foam, so they don't core crush, but it sounds like the most core crushed, hollow, broken paddle of all time. And when we hit this, it sounds nothing like that.
Yeah.
So either he has just something completely different that they're custom making for him, or these potentially will just break beyond belief. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it through its paces. We'll test it. We'll see. I'm very curious to see if it changes.
Yeah, the sound is very different.
It's
The
not
sound
even
is super
close.
different.
Yeah.
It's like thonk, thonk.
It's just the most hollow, deep sounding broken paddle of all time. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So-
Hopefully it doesn't have, I mean, most of the foam core paddles, besides like the occasional, like with the V core and like maybe we saw like an NF here or there that had like a disc bonding. Outside of that, like all of them have been pretty stable.
I've been abusing the Loco that I have. I've been drilling so much drilling recently and just very intense drilling and not a single issue with it. So these foam paddles have been impressive with their ability.
Yeah. Okay. So those are our thoughts on paddles this week. Like I said, we'll give you more information on the waves when we're allowed to do that. But you have made it to the kitchen this week. We successfully hit a third shot drop. There's no missed third this week.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys who commented that last week. It was kind of funny. I always, you know what I get a kick out from you guys when we've done this is the way you guys incorporate the word into the thing you
Some
write.
of y'all are real clever.
Yeah.
It brings me joy reading some of these comments.
Yeah, they're pretty funny. So there's really only like two things I want to go over here. There's something I was talking about with some friends recently about like a spreadsheet, like questionnaire or survey for potential pickleball partners. And then I also had Q&A from Instagram this week. So for Chasing 5-0, I guess I didn't really emphasize this in the first episode. I will have the same partners for the rest of the year, except for one tournament. My men's partner can't make it to that tournament, so I'm going to have someone different, but I'll have the same mixed partner and the same men's partner otherwise. And I like both of them a lot because my men's partner, when he came to me, so how I feel like partnerships have always worked. I used to play with our middle brother, Patrick, and then he kind of stopped playing as much. And then I just didn't, you and I have like played once or twice together, and then I might just play here or there with other people, but it was never I'm going to lock a partner in and we kind of have the same goals. It was kind of like, oh yeah, we could like play that tournament, and like our skill gap was too big. So it just never really, it wouldn't have made sense. I would have had to get a lot better for us to play together.
Yeah.
And so with my men's partner, once we played a couple tournaments and it went well, we were kind of both like, well, yeah, let's just lock it in. Like, why don't we just we have the same goals. Why don't we just grow at the same pace? And if there's a point where it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work. But right now, both motivated to improve at the same rate. And same thing with my mixed partner, like motivated to improve. We all have similar vibes. It's great. And so my men's mixed partner, they were over here the other day. We were drilling, and she was just talking about this like survey she has new partners fill out, whether they're going to be long-term or it's a blind date for a tournament. And I thought this was super smart, and I hadn't seen anyone do this. And I think it avoids a lot of issues if you do this. So basically, she gives people this like Google sheet and just says, here are some questions. Just fill out the answers in here, and then we'll go back and forth and see if this is a good fit. So I'm just going to read some of the questions because I think for blind dates, I think it's super smart. So first, do you ever lose your temper during a game or allow your emotions to get the best of you? The amount of partnerships that I have seen where this is the case and people didn't know that about each other, it's awkward. And then all I hear for the rest of the tournament after they go 0-2 is both of them in different corners of the tournament whining about how bad the other person was. So that's the first one. And I'm just going to cruise through the rest here. What would you rate your confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10 and why? What is your personal goal with pickleball? Why do you think this could be a good partnership? What are your initial perceived strengths and weaknesses of our partnership? That wouldn't apply as much to a blind date, but if you were going to do something long-term, works great. What are your partnership expectations? What is your commitment desire beyond the next tournament? What style do you like to play? Full stacking, half stacking, fast, controlled? Do you like to drop? Do you like to drive, shake and bake? What are your strengths as a player? What are your weaknesses? And then these last few, I think, are probably the most valuable of anything in this list. How do you want to be talked to during practice versus during a tournament game? Are you open to feedback? If so, how do you appreciate receiving it? And then what from your partner helps to motivate or uplift you during a game? And what from your partner drains you or doesn't contribute to helping? Because I think that alone, for example, let's go over it for you and me. I feel like you and I probably have semi-different things for some of it. And I think this will highlight exactly why I think this is important. So what during a tournament like helps you from your partner? Like what kind of vibe do you want from them? Like how do you want them to talk to you? Like what gets you amped up?
Well, in terms of talking to me, I'd have to think about it, but just like energy-wise, playing with just like stoic people is tough.
Sure.
I'm just thinking of a couple of local people here that just like, doesn't matter how good of a point it is, what happens, zero energy. Just calm, which I think is great for some people like that. How like they just want to have a level head. But like I like to get a little amped up. We've seen you getting amped up recently. This guy's making fun of me for doing it. But I think I like that. I like getting hyper with, or not hyper, but like I like getting loud with a partner.
Sure.
Like it motivates me. It lets me know that they care. They're trying. Like they're into it, you know?
So what, when they don't do that, do you like interpret it a certain way? Is it like do you think of it as, oh, they don't like what I'm doing, and then that makes you think about not doing
subconsciously maybe, but consciously I think about it, not really. It's just a matter of like, it almost makes me feel a little weird when I get hyped up after a good point.
And
they're just like, okay. And they just walk back to the bed. I'm like,
sure.
It just feels a little awkward. So
Sure.
I like to have a partner that gets a little hyped up. And then say we take a time out and we're talking to each other. The only thing I want to be talking about is strategy. Like, and I've had this so many times with partners where we go back, talk about something. I know sometimes you're forced into situations where it doesn't always work that way. We're like, okay, guy on the left, guy in the red shirt. He's a target. We got to hit all our thirds to him or returns or whatever. And then immediately afterwards, hit the ball to the other guy. I'm like, did we not just talk about this?
Sure.
So like, I feel like just talking about strategy stuff, nothing else.
So
That's
you would have a hard time if, let's say, that person just wanted to like not talk, like they just wanted to be alone.
Oh, they don't want to talk. That's fine too.
Oh, okay.
But if they do want to talk, the only thing I want to talk about is just strategy stuff.
Okay.
I've had some partners come to me and are like, hey, your form looks a little off. You're not, like if it's something simple like, hey, you're not bending your knees, that's great. Point that out. But otherwise, in terms of like form stuff, don't bring that up to me. I don't want to hear any of that. Like, oh, hey, your roll was looking a little slow or something. It's like, no.
It just gets in your head.
It's not even that it gets in my head. It's like, that's just not something I want to be thinking about. I just like, maybe if it's so severely bad, but even at that point, then I know it and I'm just not going to be doing those things. So maybe my roll is off. Okay, I'm just going to stop hitting rolls then. I don't need you to tell me that like I'm having an issue with my roll and it's...
So you don't really want mechanical feedback?
I don't want mechanical feedback. I just want strategic feedback. Or if you don't want to talk and just sit there, drink water, kind of cool down for a second, that's totally fine by me too. Those two things are the only things I want.
Sure.
Otherwise, everything else, leave it out.
Sure. That makes sense. And then what are some stuff that would like drain you with a partner? That you're like, I do not want this in a partner. Like this will make me play worse or get in my head.
People that are constantly rolling their eyes at me, or if like I miss a ball, or like scoffing, people who don't. Now I know this is a weird one. I am a chronic paddle tapper.
Same.
I kind of hate that it's been ingrained into my system. Like I almost wish I wasn't. But people who don't want to like tap paddles or intentionally do it, or just like walk away from you, or make me like stick it out in front of you to tap paddle, I hate that. Like I use it less as like oh hey, like good job, like we're tapping paddles. It was a good point. And more of like, this is a mental reset after each point, whether it's a bad point, a good point.
Yep.
This is our moment to like forget about it. Like this is our reset. We tap paddles and move on to the next point. And that's the way I use it. Even if like we're separated on different ends of the court, I will purposely slow down the game, walk to my partner, tap paddles, and walk back, because that is our reset.
Yeah.
And that's what I use it for. And so people who don't like to tap paddles makes me feel awkward. It's the same thing as like not getting hyped.
Sure.
It just makes me feel awkward.
Yep.
So that I do like tapping paddles.
Anything else?
In terms of like, if I messed up in the middle of a point, say I'm going for a ball and we clank paddles or something. Obviously I play the left a lot and I get an overhead. I don't like it when people are like, oh man, you took way too much. When maybe I'm wrong, but there's a lot of times where I feel like that should be my ball and I should take it. And I'm like, I feel like a lot of times it's blamed on me because I'm the one trying to take more court. When even though I'm fairly confident that it's the right decision, but I feel like I'm always the one. Partners I've had in the past, I feel like I'm getting blamed for it.
And so that's actually one of the things, like the question up here that talked about like, what style do you like to play? Well, it's not necessarily, well, it is a style. You like to take more court if you can. I think if a partner doesn't know that you like that, because I've had people like that, and I'm like, I'll give you the court if you want it, but I don't know if you want it. So like I'm sitting here anticipating that I should be sitting here, but like if I know that, it's like, okay, well then I'll just get out of the way.
What I would say for if I were asking people to partner with me, which actually I'll get to that in a second, I would just ask them one question. Your attitude on court, are you a Riley Newman or Ben Johns during MLP? If so, walk away. Because that I don't want. I don't want Riley Newman. His is terrible. Or Colin Johns too. Those three, if you act like Ben during MLP, I'm sorry, I don't want to play with you.
Sure.
Like, those are just like, if you've seen how they act on the court and stuff, I don't want, like, people like that, I just can't do it.
And see, like, even just hearing you talk about some of these things, I think I probably knew a lot of that about you, but like, I don't think I really knew the paddle tapping. Probably didn't know that you didn't want mechanical feedback. Like, I think knowing some of these things can eliminate so many potential issues in a partnership, especially, for example, let's take the paddle tapping. Let's say you have a person who, if you didn't talk about this with them, they don't tap paddles. Not because they don't like it, but they're just like, that's not their default. But if they know that, they don't care. They'll still, if they know it amps you up, they'll do it, but it's just not their default. Super simple fix, and all you did was ask one question. It doesn't bother them, but it makes you play way better. I think those really small things, knowing about a person, can avoid so many things, because I'm very similar to you. Like, I don't want someone rolling their eyes at me. I don't need you to tell me, hey, you're totally fine after I dumped 3 overheads in the net, but I don't need you going like, he's never going to get it. Like, it's over.
Actually, one thing that just brought up into my mind, something I don't like, and this has happened to me a ton. Say hitting overheads, okay? They're getting them back, and I decide to try hit an angle or do something a little bit out of the norm. Maybe not just hit it down the middle.
Yeah.
And I mess up. People are like, no, just hit it down the middle, man. Just hit it in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that.
Sure.
Like, you know what I was trying to do. Yes, it didn't work, but like, yeah, I know I could have just got the ball in the middle of the court if I had just hit an overhead through the middle. Like, yeah I know that.
So
but I was trying to end the point.
Let's say this. If you had maybe 4 points, this is kind of an extreme example, but let's just say 4 points, where you tried like an angled and they all went out, and your partner said like, okay, hey, like, we've tried that a couple times now and it didn't work. Would you still not like that, or would you be more okay with that?
If we took a timeout because we lost 4 points in a row and we were just being a little bit too much, then it'd be like, okay, hey, I think we're going for a little bit too low percentage shots, and I think we just need to play a little bit more high percentage, make them hit the ball. That's fine. But if it's just 1 point where I shanked an overhead a little bit, trying to do something, I know I messed up. You don't need to tell me that I could have got the ball in the middle of the court. I already know that, agree. You know?
Yeah.
But if it's over and over and over, I'm just like not fixing it myself, then yeah, we should take a timeout and you should tell me like, it's a little low percentage, buddy. Let's make them hit the ball.
Now, is there and I'll get to some of my answers here in a second, but this kind of, I was talking about some of this with my partners. Is there, in a match, is there a way you would generally prefer to, if your partner thinks they see something, is there a way you would like to receive that feedback, or do you not care? Like, they could be as blunt as they want, or do you not want them to be super blunt with it?
I don't mind if people are blunt. It just depends on what the situation is and what they're telling me. Like, I'm trying to think of a situation right now, what it would even be.
Like,
I can't come up with a scenario. I'm blanking out.
Yeah, I guess I can't think of like a super great scenario, but for me, with the partners I have currently, I think I know them well enough that now I probably don't really care how they deliver it, as long as they're not a jerk.
If I'm on the left side and somebody speeds up down the line and I'm not there for it a couple times, if somebody is like, dude, you're never on the line, just sit over there and please counter that ball. Okay, that might be a little much.
Too hot.
Like, yeah, you're right. But that might be a little aggressive and kind of Riley Newman-esque.
Sure.
I might not want to hear that. If you're like, hey, man, just trust me. I'm going to be sitting in the middle. You can be over there on that line and have full confidence that I got your back. I'm in the middle here, okay? So you can just sit on the line. That's ideal.
Yeah, I agree.
What I want to hear is that I need to know that you're ready for that ball in the middle.
Sure.
Because if I don't, if I've let it go through the middle and you miss it, then I don't have confidence in the fact that you know you should be hitting that ball.
Sure.
And that's like the most common situation. So the guy on the right lets a speed up through the middle go that I need to be covering the line. Well, now I'm second guessing.
Sure.
Do I need to cover the line, or are you expecting me to cover the middle?
Yep.
So if someone assures me, dude, I got your back, I will cover the middle for you, you have free range to sit there on that line.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd say I'm pretty similar. Like, I don't want someone to deliver it like a jerk. Yeah. Like, when I say I don't care, I probably do care a little bit.
It'll be in your head.
If they were rude about it, right? Like, if you are essentially putting me down to deliver the news, then yeah, I don't want to hear that. But if you see a problem, I don't mind if you tell me there's a problem. If you're like, dude, you've missed your last 3 drives in the tape, like, maybe we just drop. That's fine. You know, you're like, because sometimes I just don't see it, right? Like maybe that did happen and I just like was so focused on other things that whatever.
Well, sometimes, I mean, common phrase that everyone's said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
There are better ways and tones to deliver messages that can make people feel better about it. So maybe you're not even saying anything necessarily that bad, but just how you tell people, like, dude, come on, you haven't made a single third or a drive.
Yeah.
Like, let's get your thirds over the net, right?
Yeah.
Like that sounds a bit aggressive and not great. But if you're like, hey man, drives aren't working as well right now. Like, let's just make them hit the ball and get over the net. Okay, that's way better.
Or I feel like even for thirds, if you were, let's say your partner, it was drops. They were missing all their drops. I think a way that can make your partner probably feel better about it is delivering it a couple ways. You could either say, hey, like either you could point it out, which maybe not the most ideal. I feel like people don't usually like having it pointed out. But you could say, hey, look, like we've missed a couple. Like I don't care if you miss high. Like I'm confident that on the next ball, we can reset that one and get up there. Let's just try that and see what happens. Or the alternative would be saying something like, hey, let's pick this target. Like, let's focus on this spot. Like, let's say they kept going for wide cross or up the line. It's like, hey, let's just like put it in the middle at the right foot. Because I think when you deliver it that way, it's now less about the actual form and your problem. And you're giving the person like another visual thing to like focus on. Because I've had times in tournaments where, maybe my dinking's bad and partner's like, hey, like let's hit to this foot, this spot. And like now I'm thinking about that and not, oh, I've missed my last 10 backhand dinks. So I think that can be better.
See, I think this whole like form thing, fill out this questionnaire, it's great. I'm sure you can get a lot of great information. I'm sure it's good. Personally, you could never in a million years catch me sending this to someone.
What if they sent it to you?
I guess I wouldn't care that much, but I just personally, I could not send this. I'm gonna be like, hey, if you want a partner, we got to fill this out, and then I'm going to review it, and I'll let you know if it's a good fit or not.
See, but
it's like a job interview. I hate that. And what I would do, all I need is most people playing at my level have probably recorded a tournament match before. You send me a recorded tournament match, that's all the information I need. I will get everything I need out of a tournament match.
Sure.
If you send me one recording, boom, that's all I need.
Yeah, I would say, here's what I would say. I think I would approach this differently for random partners if I was doing a blind date and long-term, because there are questions in here that are a little bit more long-term. Like, what is your commitment desire beyond the next tournament? If it's a random, you don't really need that. Like, there's a couple things in here, or like, what are our perceived strengths and weaknesses? Well, you don't really know that. So I think I split this into two categories. There's the, hey, let's figure out things about each other for a blind date so we can avoid having a catastrophe, because we see that like every tournament we go to, and it's really awkward.
There was one particular in Austin, Texas. I don't know if it was a blind date, but that one was a disaster.
Do I know about this one?
Yeah, the Moneyball. Remember? We were watching the...
Oh, yes. Yeah. See, and like, I think you could avoid some of that, but I think the way I view it, probably because I'm talking with people who are longer term partners, I really like knowing probably all of their preferences for certain things, because then it just knows... For me, whether we're drilling, we're at a tournament, or we're practicing some games, like the delivery they want. Like I learned a couple probably small things that I didn't know about both my partners. I was like, I probably could have guessed, but it's nice to just know this. And now that I know some of these things, I will make sure to do it this way. And actually, I think both my partners, one of the things they listed was paddle tapping, which I'm a serial paddle tapper too, so that wasn't going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But now that I know that, I will be conscious to, if I'm in a bad mood, to not skip that, because I know it's important to both of them. And so I really like it for the longer term style of thing and being like, what are our goals? Because if someone tells me, you know what, like, I just kind of want to have fun, I don't really care that much about getting better, and I'm doing chasing 5-0, yeah, I'm not partnering with that person. That's the thing.
If it's a long-term partnership, then you probably are in the same area. You probably see them all the time, drill, practice, play together. At that point, I'm not sending you a questionnaire. I'm just going to sit down with you and talk.
Well, it's the same. Yeah. However you do it, whether it's an actual questionnaire or you talk, I think the result is the same.
Yeah.
I think this is just like a lot of times you're probably not going to be able to sit down and talk depending on who the person is. So either way, it doesn't matter. You could do it both ways. I do kind of like having it
I think for me, there's just something awkward about sending someone a document to fill out versus just literally, if I'm talking to them about playing a tournament, I'll just text them and be like, do you like this? Do you not like this? Boom.
For sure.
Asking the questions isn't the issue. It's just a matter of sending a pack. Yeah. The delivery of sending a packet for someone to fill out. I personally, no issue with it.
Yeah.
I just, as a personal thing, couldn't do it.
I see what you're saying. Yes. I think you could deliver it either way and have it work great.
But I do think it's a good idea. I don't want to say that this is a bad idea. I think it's great. More information for partnerships is better, right? So I think it's good.
Totally. Because I think, for me, like if I knew, one, I definitely don't want to partner with someone who has like a terrible temper. They're like throwing their paddle off the court. They're screaming. Like that's a no-go for me. If I saw that, someone says like, yeah, I do lose my temper a lot in tournaments, immediate no-go. I can't.
Yeah.
Because I'll play terrible. I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm not wasting my money.
Right.
So that's like stuff for me. And even just like for me, I think things that help me like kind of motivate me is like just positive self-talk. I don't look, if I miss an overhead, I know I missed the overhead. I probably know why I missed the overhead. You don't have to tell me I missed the overhead. You can just say, hey, look, it's fine. Next one. Because as soon as, if my partner, like let's say I missed 2 overheads and I see them roll their eyes, I promise you that next overhead, I'm either like letting it bounce and hitting a worse shot, like a dumber shot, or I'm just going to second guess it and then miss it even worse.
You just got to have that speech that, why am I blanking out? Not Rafa. Oh, Roger Federer gave about how his career points.
Yeah.
In my career, I only won 51% of points. Yeah, you lose a point. It's fine.
Yeah, totally. And I think as far as things are drained, I mean, pretty similar. Like, I want someone to paddle tap. I want to be in good communication the whole time. I don't mind it if someone tells me, look, I need to cool off for a second because like I'm missing everything and by all means, go for it. Mm-hmm. But if I know that's the reason, that helps a lot more than if they just walk off and won't talk because then I'm like, is it me?
Sure.
And as soon as I think it's me, then I'm like, oh,
checked out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it makes it tough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so you guys can try this with different partnerships. I think we've all seen it. If you've been to a tournament, you've heard your friend rant about their partner, said that, man, this guy sucked. Yeah, like we've all seen it. So
speaking of partners, real quick, I just want to cut in. We're doing this Chasing 5-0 series. You're going to be there at these events playing. I'm going to be there filming. I'm going to be trying to go. I mean, obviously, I'll be at all of them. I'm going to try and go early and play as many of the qualifiers as possible, if not all of them. Anyone out there listening, I don't have set partners. So y'all have heard my preferences on the pod. If you think it fits, reach out. I would love to chat. I want to find partners for qualifiers for these events.
Make sure you send them a Google Doc and say, hey, fill this out.
I just filled it out on the pod. I just gave out all
there's
all
a lot
my
of other
answers.
questions on there. There's a lot of other questions. We only covered like 3 of the questions.
So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Like I said, I don't have set partners. I have some people that I'm asking right now, but feel free if you think it fits and want to play qualifiers at any of these locations that we're going to be at, by all means, send me a message and let me know.
Sounds great. Okay. Moving on. I got some questions from Instagram. A handful of them were related to Chasing 5-0, so we'll kind of go over some of those. But first one was, what do you think will be the hardest thing for you to improve for 5-0? And I don't know if I have an awesome answer for this. Actually, you know what? Before I answer, what do you think it'll be?
I was just about to say, I was like, I'm coming up with some things in my head. So what would be the hardest thing for you to...
Like the thing that you think I would struggle with the most to fix?
To fix. This is tough. I actually think... Something that you've struggled with for a long time that I feel like has been slow to improve, there's a couple things.
Yeah.
One is court positioning.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of times you're out of position on the court, and this is something that's gotten brought up with people in the past, and I don't know what it is. You just haven't been able to improve in that category. Like, everything else has gotten better. Your resets have gotten better. Your drives up and down, we all are like that. Hands have gotten better, but court positioning still seems to be one of those things. And I don't know why.
I think one of the things that with that, because I was just with some people, and it was the same. It's always the same thing. They're like, "Why are you not covering the line?" I think really what it is a lack of trust that my partner will cover the middle. And it's not because I think they're bad and they're incapable of it. I think it's more that it's like I feel that I should be able to cover multiple things, and then I end up sacrificing. It always ends up being the line for me. And so I need to have better trust with certain people, because here's what I think it is. I think there are times where there's a ball that I should cover up the line This is actually exactly where I think it comes from, where I have maybe done that properly and a ball, let's say I'm on the left and the ball kind of goes over past my right shoulder or a little bit through here. Maybe it was in my reach, but it's a stretch. But my partner also wasn't there. And I think I've had people who have been like, what were you, why did you not cover that? And so I think it eventually just slowly over time got in my head that I had to be responsible for both, when in reality, I should only be responsible for one of those things.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of gotten ingrained, but I would agree. That's actually a pretty good answer. Like, I need to be better about like, this is my job. And if we miss the ball, I need to just go, that's not my fault.
Yep.
And I think it's hard for me to
You
go.
covered your spot. You did your job.
Yeah. And I think it's hard for me to go, that was my partner's fault. Because I don't want to blame my partner. And I would never tell them like, that was your fault. But I think I just feel the responsibility of
That's
like,
that thing I was talking about earlier. The confidence that your partner lets you know, and you can deliver that the same way back to them. Like, hey, just so you know, on that ball, I will be sitting on the line, and it would be great if you're ready in the middle for that.
yeah.
That's that, you know, that's, and then that would give you both confidence. Like, you've now done your due diligence of letting them know that when that ball is in that spot, you will be on the line.
Yeah.
That, so they can't blame you for not being there because you told them I'm sitting on the line.
Yep.
So yeah, I think court positioning has been probably one that you struggle with the most. And then another one is blocks and playing against bangers.
Yeah.
That's one that you struggle with.
Yeah.
Just because I still feel like deep down, no matter how many times we do hardball or any of these drills, there's just some inherent fear of the ball.
Here's what's funny though. I do think that's true. But what I have found very interesting is it's almost the better I know you, the worse it is. Because when I play people who I would say hit the ball harder.
Because you know they're going to crush the ball.
Because it's like, it's almost like I know what it's going to be. And I think for some people, the ball is so high that I don't trust that you're not going to hit me in the face.
Sure.
But when I play other people who hit the ball harder and I'm less aware, I actually think I handle it better. Still not awesome. I still think there's a little bit of jumping and some issues. But like, for example, I played the other day with Patrick, Caleb, and another one of our friends. And like, the joke just became like basically Hayden Patrick Quinn style speed ups at my chest because they knew it was working. And it was just like, they're so high and I'm like jumping to try and hit these to avoid getting hit in the face. And I think it's more me worried about, are you going to hit a dumb shot you shouldn't have hit? Whereas with people I don't know, I just almost give them the benefit of the doubt until they give me reason to believe.
Like a lot of times, now I get it when we're playing, I do hit the ball quite hard. But like
soft.
I get I get like a high one at the net and you don't even think about trying. Now I get it, it's rec, so you don't really want to risk potentially getting injured. But you basically just give up and turn around and run away.
Yeah.
Like you're like, it's not worth it. It's gone. I think just being able to like get over the fear of the ball and like just sit on it.
Which my men's partner's way better about that. He'll be at the kitchen and someone's hitting it overhead and he just puts his head up and puts his paddle down and I'm like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Like I think I've gotten over that pretty good at this point. Now, like I was drilling with my buddy yesterday. We were doing hands and he got one. I just gave him a T-ball and he slapped that thing, hit me. It was so fast. Hit me square in the chest and I was like, I mean, it hurt, but I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'm fine, you know?
Yep.
So like as long as it hit you not in the eye,
yeah,
you'll be all right.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think both of those are good ones for sure.
I think those will be the most difficult to improve. I think other things you can fix pretty quickly and you'll get better at with how much you've been training. I think those you'll probably be the slowest to improve at.
It'll be interesting too, because one of the things I already drilled last week was a hardball style drill. But I think when I put something behind me where I know I can't back up, it helps a lot. Like it just, when I am in the mindset of, look, there's something in your way and you're not allowed to bump it, that makes me focus a lot more and I feel like I struggle less. So I'm curious if, as I do that over the next few weeks, if that issue goes away quickly or if it'll stay an issue. But I think I need to get in the mindset of like, you're not allowed to move.
Yeah.
Like if they hit you, they hit you.
Also letting out balls go out.
Yeah, I do need to get better about that.
Yeah, that one you struggle with quite a bit.
That one I actually almost think would be the hardest just because like it can be so variable. Like if one drops in that you thought was out, then you second guess yourself. And,
yep. So
but those are good ones.
Those are the top three. I would say those are the top three things. If you can fix those, dude, 5-0, easy.
Yeah. Yeah. and then 5-3, and then Isaac's bald.
Hey, that's not guaranteed. Sam and I could go above 5-3. That's just what he's currently at.
You could also go down.
So could you.
That's true. I could go down. It's possible.
It applies to both.
Okay, so next question, which we kind of already talked about. I feel like the thing we just talked about with the partnership questionnaire, if I'm understanding this question right, which was, how do you keep a group wanting to grow in pickleball like your group? And the reason I'm assuming this is kind of what we just talked about is because of my men's partner and mixed partner. Everyone kind of has this group and like we're all willing to improve. If you're just talking about pickleball groups in general, like how do you keep it fun and how do you keep people wanting to like grow, I guess? Like to me, the number one thing is don't be a jerk and keep it fun. I think some of the groups of our friends that have done better and we've all stayed playing together the longest is because a lot of times we don't take things too seriously, or if people are wanting to take things a little more serious, that's like spoken beforehand. And you don't have one guy showing up who's a tryhard and one guy or two other guys that are like, whoa, I thought we were just playing some casual rec games. Like I think that helps. But like, dude,
recently we had a group we were like, okay, we're gonna do a 3-game series and it's gonna be like a tournament. We're gonna try, we're gonna focus. And then after that, we're gonna be a little goofy. We can hit less high percentage shots, flick it with as much wrist as possible, do whatever you want. But like for these 3 games, we're gonna focus a little bit and then we can just goof around and have fun.
Yeah.
And that's been a good way to like balance it out. I think staying motivated, like I don't think it's tough because fun and improving can correlate, on the same track a little bit, but not always.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of a gap with having fun and actually getting better.
Yes, I agree.
You can't do both at the same time.
I think it's possible to do both, but I think a lot of times they go against each other.
Yes.
Like I would say in the times that I've drilled with my men's partner or my mixed partner, I have a fun time. And I would say, I don't think I've walked away from a single one of those drill sessions frustrated or upset, but you have to have the right people to do that. And both of them have similar personalities to me in that they want to keep it kind of fun and loose. So I think that helps. But I do think, like I anticipate with Chasing 5-0 that to do this in the time that I want, I will probably be more frustrated playing pickleball than I have in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's going to be things like the skills you just mentioned that I get stuck on and I'm like mad that I can't fix it. And it's like, or, if I'm just playing some casual rec games, I don't really care.
Right.
But now that I have to care, it's like, if I'm not improving at the rate I want, then I'm probably going to be mad. So that's the thing for me is find good people, keep it fun. And if there's people who are jerks in the group, get rid of them.
You just have to find like-minded people that are, what motivates me is being goal-oriented. So like your goal, Chasing 5-0. You want to get to 5-0. That's my thing, is like, I have my set goals and I need to find somebody who's after those same goals. And if I can do that, then we both want the same thing. And if I can find someone even better, more like me, who's just obsessive over things like this, then that is all we need to be motivated to get to those things.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next one is a PaddleTek still worth it for the durability factor these days, or is a foam paddle better value? I think in terms of durability, I think the PaddleTeks probably still win because there's some, like a little bit of unknown with some of the foam paddles, but I would say overall, the durability that has been shown with foam so far and the performance that you are gaining with those, I think I would push, if someone came to me and asked for a recommendation, I'd probably be pushing them towards the foam paddle more than a PaddleTek.
Agreed.
But it all depends, right? Like what they come to me and what they tell me they want. If they like, I want something like really crisp, I want it kind of loud, and like I want it to be fast and immediate. Like if they tell me those are like number one priorities, I'm gonna be like, here's a PaddleTek. PaddleTek fits what you just described.
The only downside for some people with newer foam paddles is they lean towards the more muted side. So if you don't like muted paddles, you'll like the PaddleTek more because they're just overall. I'm trying to think of a floating foam core that doesn't really feel that muted.
I mean, I don't think a Boomstik is that muted. I mean, like maybe more than some of like a Gen 3 polymer paddle. Like let's say the Thrive Fury. I think that has a lot of feedback and is very stiff. But it's like all a relative scale, right? Like there's going to be muted, less muted, neutral, not muted at all, and then like hard as a rock, Yeah. So it's all like, where does it fall on that scale?
But like I would put the PaddleTeks at the far end of stiff and like harsh feedback, and all of the foam paddles in this like pretty muted to maybe starting to get to more neutral.
Interesting. Like Boomstik, I don't feel like is that muted. Like if I'm comparing a Genesis to a Boomstik, Genesis is like no weight, very muted.
Yeah, then you just put it in the middle of the muted section. Boomstik can just be at the tail end of it.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. But either way, I think PaddleTek is trailing off in easily recommendable paddles, but I still think there is a market for those people, and I wouldn't call them bad, but there are drawbacks that you have to be willing to accept.
I think foam paddles are just getting better in terms of performance, and PaddleTeks aren't bad, but they're lacking in performance that you can get from foam paddles.
Yeah.
Especially at the price.
And durability is getting a lot closer.
Yes.
Okay. Will you do more lesson content for Chasing 5.0? The answer is almost certainly. I've got a couple things we're going to work on for that, but nothing I can talk about yet. Next up, how about the mental side of dealing with off days, regression? I guess we kind of just talked about this. That's a thing that I think is going to be interesting for me to deal with specifically. I don't know if he's asking about Chasing 5.0, but I'm going to relate it to that because it's relevant right now. It's going to be really fascinating because I haven't really ever I've left days frustrated at pickleball where I was bad at something and I wished I was better at it. But now that people are watching this, it's a regular series, and like, you know, you want to achieve this goal and there's like almost some more stakes on it. I anticipate that the mental side of that is going to be a hurdle that I'm going to have to, like, I already think I'm pretty good with mental. I don't really lose it much, but I'm sure I'm going to have people who tease me like, oh, hey, it's been a month already and you haven't improved as much. Like, not to be mean, but just like as a joke.
Jokingly, sarcastically.
And I'm sure some of that is going to annoy me a little bit.
100%.
Like, especially if I finish a drill session where I'm like, I could not figure this out today. Like one of the drills that you were filming me and my partner do the other day, I was terrible at it. And when I went and watched some film, I was like, okay, I think I know why I was bad at it now. And I think I can fix it. But if I had that plus people like poking fun, like, yeah, that's going to be tough.
I will say, I was more focused on my job of filming that day, but there were some things I was watching you. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh man, I can point something out that will literally instantly fix this problem for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Totally. All right, last two questions. What paddle shape is theoretically the best master for a newbie? Again, a lot of context needed.
Oddly phrased.
Did you play table tennis? Did you play tennis? Do you have no sports background?
If what I read this as, newbie means you don't really have racket sport background.
Sure.
Because at that point, if you have any amount of racket sport background, you're not a noob.
Sure.
Maybe to pickleball, but the act of hitting a ball with a racket,
Yep.
you're well versed.
Sure.
So at that point, I take it as someone who's new to this style of sport, new to pickleball. That would be a wide body.
That's what I would say too. I think you can't really go wrong with any of them, but if I had to pick one, I would say wide body.
Yes. Just overall the most forgiving. If you're new,
Easy to swing.
They're light swing weights. So you don't have to worry about it being heavy. Just bigger surface area. Typically, new people struggle with overswinging and having big swings, and typically wide bodies are a bit softer, so they'll kind of suppress that overswinging, and I think that will help the most.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably what I would say. All right, last one is, what paddle am I going to use for Chasing 5.0? I mean, I still have to review paddles, so who knows? I'm sure other great things will come out this year. At the moment, I'm planning for it to be the Boomstik, because that's what I've been playing with. But maybe if edge guards like keep having issues, or like who knows, maybe Infinigrit doesn't hold up that well, like things could sway that a little bit. But at the moment, the plan is the Boomstik because that's what I've been playing with and I like it. But you never know. Someone might release a super sick paddle and then it's like, okay, I'll use that.
Things can change. In this industry, things change real fast.
Yeah.
So who knows what's coming? Maybe he'll main in Adidas. We don't know. That's the day the world is ending.
Gearbox has had their redemption. At this point, Selkirk had their redemption this year. We might as well just make the heavens fall and have Adidas fix it this year.
Bro, the day you main in Adidas, and if you make it to 5-0 with an Adidas, is the day we see pigs flying across the sky.
Hey, maybe that new one's awesome. Maybe that's what it was. Imagine, honestly, that would be hilarious. I almost want that to happen.
That would be, I don't even know. That would be insane.
It would be like the ultimate Yeah, dude. I hope that paddle's good. Now that I hear that, I kind of want it to be, though I don't think they have a hybrid or a wide body. So the heavens would really have to fall. I'm using it elongated too. That'd be crazy.
Exactly. Well,
We'll see.
I don't really have much else.
No, that's it for me. So anyways, thanks for listening. Actually, wait, we probably need some word for the people. I don't know. What could it be?
Ooh, what is it going to be?
Didn't think
Positioning.
about this.
Positioning. Positioning was off.
All right, we'll do positioning.
That's our phrase. That's our word.
Sounds good. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.